Hi, good morning everybody. So, my dear students, today we will study the rest of the emperor of the Delhi Sultanate. As we have covered in the earlier videos, Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, Rajia Sultan, Ghayasuddin Balban, Alauddin Khilji, and we have studied all the dynasties and their rulers. Okay, so now we will start from Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Okay, he is an interesting character in the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, like when I shall tell you about his administrative and rules and regulations, then you may be laugh. Okay, मतलब आपको हंसी भी आ सकती है कि इसने अपने शासनकाल में ऐसे ऐसे रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस सेटअप किए थे कि अगर हम उनको पढ़ते हैं देन इट्स दे साउंड्स फनी टू अस. ओके, सो नाउ लेट्स रीड अबाउट मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक. He tried to introduce many administrative reforms. He had five ambitious projects for which he has become particularly debatable. Like I told you that इन्होंने अपनी साम्राज्य में बहुत सारे रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस सेटअप किए थे, बहुत सारे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस को इन्होंने स्टार्ट किया था. एंड ही हैड 5 एम्बिशियस प्रोजेक्ट कि इसके वो 5 सपने थे जो ये पूरा करना चाहता था, और उनकी वजह से ये हमेशा इतिहास में डिबेट में रहते हैं, मतलब इनकी चर्चा हमेशा होती रहती है. ओके, नाउ फर्स्ट टैक्सेशन इन द डॉब. Okay, first is the taxation in the Doab. The Sultan made an ill-advised financial experiment in the Doab between the Gangas and Jamuna. He not only increased the rate of taxation but also received and created some additional abwabs or cesses. Although the share of the state remained half as in time of Alauddin, it was fixed arbitrarily, not on the basis of actual produce. Prices were also fixed artificially for converting the produce into money. It is said that the increase was 20-fold, and to this were added ghari or house tax and the charahi or pasture tax. Okay, so now beta जो मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक के समय पे गंगा और यमुना के किनारे जितने भी गांव बसे थे, और वहाँ पे द पीजेंट्स एंड द फार्मर्स हु वर लिविंग्स ऑन द बैंक्स ऑफ गंगाज एंड जमुना, दे ऑन दैम ही पुट टैक्स एंड इंक्रीज द वैल्यू ऑफ टैक्स. कि भाई इसने टैक्स बढ़ा दिए थे वहाँ पे, ठीक है, और टैक्स किसके ऊपर? खेती के ऊपर, एग्रीकल्चर के ऊपर. एंड फ्रॉम देयर ही ट्राई टू गेन एज मच प्रॉफिट एज ही want. Okay, now and he fixed the price artificially for converting the produce into money. और जो भी वहाँ पे फसल तैयार होती थी, जो फसल कट के आती थी, उसको पैसे में बदलने के लिए ये टैक्स का प्रचलन इसने शुरू किया था, और वी कैन से ही इंक्रीज द टैक्स टू प्रोड्यूस मनी. ओके, It is said that the increase was 20-fold, and to this were added ghari, and these are the name of taxes that he introduced in his kingdom. Ghari means the house tax. Now, as present times also, we pay our property tax, our house tax टू द कम्युनिटी. ओके, हम कमेटी में जाके, जो गवर्नमेंट म्यूनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन डिपार्टमेंट होता है बेटा, वहाँ पे हम अपने जाके हाउस टैक्स देते हैं ना. इन द सेम वे इन हिज किंगडम the people who were living on his land had to pay house tax, and the house tax was called ghari. Okay, and the another name of the tax was charahi और pasture tax. अगर भाई pasture मीन कि भाई अगर आपको अपने पशुओं को चारा चराने के लिए लेके जाना है, और जिस ज़मीन के ऊपर चारा चराने के लिए लेके जाना है, या फिर चारा पशुओं के लिए चारा कलेक्ट करके लेके आना है, उन सब के लिए पीपल हैड टू, द फार्मर्स एंड द पीजेंट्स हैड टू गिव रेंट, और वी कैन से टैक्स टू द ऑफिशियल्स ऑफ द मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक. सो we can conclude that taxation in the Doab, he want to collect as much tax as he want from any means, like on agriculture, on crops, on house tax, on pastures, Okay, so he was really fond of the revenue. Okay, now second, the Sultan created a new department of agriculture called Diwan-e Kohi. Okay, the main object of this department was to bring more land under cultivation by giving direct help to peasants. Okay, so when he realized that the peoples who are living on the banks of Ganga and Jamuna, they take water for their agriculture purpose from these two rivers, and as the land was really fertile and good quality to produce good amount of good quality of crops, so what he did, he thought that if I increase the land for agriculture, then the production will be more, and when the production will be more, the amount of money will produce more. Okay, so what he did, he started a डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर कॉल्ड दीवान ए कोही। इसने एक एग्रीकल्चर विभाग बनाया और उस एग्रीकल्चर का नाम इसने रखा था दीवान ए कोही। ओके, द मेन ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ दिस डिपार्टमेंट, और इस डिपार्टमेंट का सिर्फ एक ही उद्देश्य था कि जितनी भी खाली ज़मीन है ऑन विच नथिंग इज डन, to make it cultivate and to produce it and to bring it under cultivation for agriculture, ठीक है, and give it direct to the peasants, और फिर ये ज़मीन उनको किसानों को दे दी जाए, because the at that period of time बेटा the more tax was coming from only agriculture। सबसे ज़्यादा टैक्स किंगडम में कहाँ से आता था, एग्रीकल्चर से आता था, एंड जो टैक्स वहाँ से आता था उसको ही ये फिर अपने सिपाहियों में, अपने सैनिकों में सैलरी के तौर पे भी देता था। ओके, नाउ ट्रांसफर ऑफ कैपिटल, बेटा दिस इज his I can say not a good decision that he took. He transferred his capital. Okay, the most controversial step which Muhammad Tughlaq undertook soon after his accession was the so-called transfer of capital from Delhi to Diogir. Okay, from Delhi to Diogir, he transferred his capital from Delhi to Diogir. Diogir had been a base for the expansion of Turkish rule in South India. It appears that Sultan wanted to make Diogir second capital so that he might be able to control South India better. Diogir was thus named Daulatabad. After a couple of years, Muhammad Tughlaq decided to abandon Daulatabad, largely because he soon found that just as he could not control South India from Delhi, he could not control North from Daulatabad. Okay, what he did is second step was that he transferred his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad, just because Daulatabad was situated in the South India, and from where Turkish rulers ruled their kingdom. So he shifted his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad in hope that just like he is the emperor of northern India, and in the same way he can control the south also, South India also. But after some times he realized that just like sitting in Delhi he cannot control the area of south, in the same way sitting, if he will sit on the throne in the south in Daulatabad, he will lose his control in north. So he again transferred his capital from Daulatabad to Delhi. बेटा अब आप खुद सोच के देखो कि ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता था ना, कि मतलब ये उत्तर भारत का राजा वहाँ पे दक्षिण भारत में जाके राज करता है, तो क्या उसकी पावर, उसके रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस, जो उसका एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन सिस्टम था वो नॉर्थ में उसी तरह चल पाएगा जब उसकी प्रेजेंस ही नहीं रहेगी? नहीं होगा ना ऐसा। तो इन द सेम वे ही वेरी सून डिसाइडेड दैट टू लीव द दौलताबाद एंड शिफ्ट हिज कैपिटल अगेन back to the Delhi. Yes. Okay, so now next third point is introduction of token currency. Okay, introduction of token currency. Muhammad Tughlaq decided to introduce bronze coins which were to have same value as the silver ones. Muhammad Tughlaq might have been successful if he could prevent people from forging the new coins. He was not able to do so, and soon the new coins began to be greatly devalued in markets. Finally, Muhammad Tughlaq decided to withdraw the token currency. He promised to exchange silver pieces of for bronze coins. The third step that he took was introduce a new token currency. Okay, पहले बेटा चांदी के सिक्के तो चलते ही आ रहे थे, लेकिन मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक ने कांसे के सिक्के का प्रचलन भी शुरू कर दिया था और इसने ये कहा था कि जो चांदी के सिक्के हैं उनकी जितनी वैल्यू है उतनी ही वैल्यू कांसे के सिक्कों की भी होगी. Both the bronze and the silver coins will have equal value. Okay, will have equal value. He was not able to do so, and soon the new coins began to be greatly devalued in the market. But the new coins that he introduced of copper were soon devalued in the markets. उनकी वैल्यू बिल्कुल ही खत्म हो गई मार्केट में. फाइनली मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक डिसाइडेड टू विड्रॉ द टोकन करेंसी, और फिर इसने अपनी टोकन करेंसी की पॉलिसी को वापस ले लिया. एंड ही सेड दैट ओनली द सिल्वर कॉइन्स विल बी यूज्ड इन ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स. ओके, ही प्रोमिस टू एक्सचेंज सिल्वर पीसेस फॉर ब्रॉन्ज कॉइन्स, और इसने ये वादा भी किया कि भाई ब्रॉन्ज के सिक्कों के बदले हम आपको चांदी के सिक्के दिए जाएंगे. ओके, लाइक द पीपल हु हैव ब्रॉन्ज कॉइन्स दे विल रिटर्न देयर ब्रॉन्ज कॉइन्स एंड इन रिटर्न द किंग विल गिव देम द सिल्वर कॉइन्स. ओके, नाउ वी विल रीड अबाउट हिज फोर्थ, that is proposed Khorasan expeditions. Okay, the Sultan had a vision of universal conquest. He decided to conquest Khorasan and Iraq and mobilized a huge army for the purpose. He was encouraged to do so by Khorasani nobles who had taken shelter in his court. Moreover, there was instability in Khorasan and on account of the unpopular rule of Abu Siyad. Okay, so now my dear students, that now at present time he was the emperor of Delhi Sultanate. Okay, and in his court he has given shelter to the Khorasani kingdom people, and the Khorasani people encouraged him to conquer Iraq and Khorasan. ओके, उन्होंने इसको ये बताया कि भाई आप खुरसन को और इराक को भी कॉन्कर कर सकते हो और अपने कब्जे में ले सकते हो, बिकॉज the administrative system and the rules and regulations of the king of Abu Siyad. Remember beta, Abu Siyad was the great grandfather of Babur, and Babur is the first Mughal emperor in India. Okay, so when I shall tell you about the Mughal emperor, then I shall tell you about Abu Siyad. Abu Siyad is the great grandfather of Babur. Okay, and Babur represent the Mughal empire in our country India. Okay, so now at that period of time in Iraq and Khorasani kingdom, the Abbasiyad policies and rules and regulations were not so suitable that he may run his kingdom properly and very nicely. So what Khorasani people did, Khorasani people encouraged the Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and he was just a kind of man like who can be taken into confidence इजीली. बेटा मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक इजीली बहुत ही आसानी से बातों में आ जाते थे, और बातों में आके वो मतलब जो उनको ठीक लगता था वो नहीं करते थे, जो दूसरों को ठीक लगता था ना वो तभी कर देता था ये बंदा, ये मतलब ऐसा था. एंड इन हिस्ट्री इसको पागलों का राजा भी कहा जाता है. डेट ही वॉज द किंग ऑफ फूल्स, बिकॉज इसने ऐसी ऐसी पॉलिसीज की थी. फर्स्ट, that he increased the revenue system, he increased the taxation system in his kingdom. Second, he thought of transfer of the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad first, and then after realizing that he will lose the control in the northern part also, he again shifted his capital from Daulatabad to Delhi. And third, he introduced a token policy which was really a unsuccessful idea, and in return to take his own currency back, he has to give silver coins to his own people in in a free manner. So in such kind of policies and administration system, he lost control, he lost his power, he lost his money and wealth, as well also his time. And even if we say that he has the last standing army, a good amount of wealth, then he can progress well with a good quality of ministers in the court. But what people did in the court, people realized that he is a fool and can be made fool by easily, and और इस चीज़ का फ़ायदा उन्होंने काफ़ी बार उठाया. Just like the Kursani people encouraged him to attack the Iraq on the king Abu Siyad. Okay, he was encouraged to do so by Kursani nobles who had taken shelter in his court. Moreover, there was instability in Khurasan on account of the unpopular rule of Abu Siyad. Okay, like the people who were living in his own court, जो इसके ही कोर्ट में रहते थे ना बेटा, वो खुद ही सिर्फ इतना करते थे कि जस्ट लाइक डैट अपने फ़ायदे के लिए इसको कॉन्फिडेंस में लेके इसी का पैसा यूज़ करते थे, इसी की वेल्थ यूज़ करते थे और इसी की पावर को यूज़ करते थे, और धीरे धीरे डाउन टू हिज नोज अपने काम निकलवाते रहते थे. एंड इसको कुछ भी खबर नहीं लगती थी कि डैट मेरे नीचे क्या का हो रहा है. ओके, व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन माय किंगडम. ओके, नाउ द लास्ट पॉइंट इज द कुराचिल, the Kurachil expeditions. Okay, this expeditions was launched in Kumaon Hills in Himalayas illegally. To expeditions was directed against some refractory tribes in Common Garhwal region with the object of bringing them under Delhi Sultanate. The first attack was a success, but when rainy season set in the endeavors suffered terribly. His first projects led to revolts all around his empire. His last days were spent in checking the revolts in the Thatha in Sindh. Altogether 36 revolts in 25 years. Okay, so now what he thought? He thought that let's also attack on the Himalayan region, like the China side, the Jammu and Kashmir side, where the Himalayas are there, and he thought that let's bring that region into the control of Delhi Sultanate. But it was really an unsuccessful, because he was successful in his first attempt. ये मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक बेटा पहले आक्रमण में तो सक्सेसफुल हो गया था, बट एज द रेनी सीजन स्टार्ट एंड व्हेन स्नोफॉल वाज देयर, बिकॉज एज वी नो इन हिमालयाज the sides and the land of Himalayas, when rainy season was there, then the snowfall came, and when snowfall came, he was not having a proper means to save himself and his own army from the shadow of rain or from the showering of snowfall, and so he left that place and again came back to Delhi with his army. So he suffered very terribly in the inventions of the Himalaya region. Now, as I told you, his own people will think he is mad. अब आपको भी अच्छे से पता चल गया होगा ना कि ये क्या थे, ये एक पागल राजा था. ओके, और इतिहास में इसको पागल राजा भी कहा जाता. लेकिन अपने 25 साल के शासनकाल में मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक ने 36 लड़ाइयाँ लड़ी थी बेटा. ओके, he fought 36 battle in 25 years. So now this is all about Muhammad bin Tughlaq. I hope you like the administration policies of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and in the next video we will study about Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Okay, thank you.